let him do an introduction, and then he can tell us. He's our guest speaker for the day to introduce us to Islam 101. So I really appreciate him coming out and joining us today. And I hand the floor over to him. And then afterwards, we'll regain or finish up our meeting. We have the treasury report and a few other things on the agenda as well. Imam Harmoush, the floor is yours.
Sure, thank you. First of all, good afternoon, everybody. And we say Assalamu alaikum, peace be upon you all. My dear brothers and sisters, it's my pleasure and my honor to be with you today to share with you some concepts about Islamic religion and our community in Riverside. However, the Interfaith Council of Riverside is not stranger to me. We had that long time ago in the 90s, and then like in the 210, 20, and so on. But lately, I am very happy to rejoin and participate. The Islamic religion, as you know, it's really the religion of all prophets of God, and which means, to start with, the word Islam. Islam means submission, submission to the will of God and His order. And Muslims believe that there is a creator of this world. We name him in Arabic Allah, and Allah, or God in English, Dios in Spanish, and other names, of course, to the same deity, is the creator of the whole universe, including us as a human. And therefore, it is the religion of all prophets, because all prophets of God came in to invite people to worship God and to submit to Him. So different time, of course, different circumstances, maybe different teaching, slightly here and there. It depends on the timing and type of people that God sent the message to. And we believe that God sent messages to all kind of people throughout the history. The final message, we believe, came to Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, and all prophets of God into the valley of Mecca in Saudi Arabia now. And he came in with the miracles of the Holy Quran as a linguistic miracle, in addition to many other miracles. But this is the everlasting miracle, the one and only Quran that worldwide has so many facts and truth and challenges and so on. So that's what we believe in. And Muhammad as the last prophet of God, and the Holy Quran, and his life and implementation of the Quran is another form of demonstration of how life should be lived, and the principles and values of this religion. However, in brief, the creed of the Islamic religion, or the belief system, is to believe in God, the one and only, has no association and no partner in this world, the King of alls and Master of the Day of Judgment, and so on. So God Almighty is the one and only. And then we believe that God has angels. Angels do whatever God commands throughout this world, and they will not do anything out of His command. God have revealed books, as we know, the Old Testament, the New Testament, and the Holy Quran, and some other teaching, some of it being probably documented, many is not. And then God sent prophets. So we believe in all prophets of God. 25 of them is mentioned in the Holy Quran, including Adam, Noah, and all the way to Abraham, Moses, Jesus, and Jacob, and David, and rest of the prophets, until Muhammad, peace be upon them all. We believe in the Day of Judgment, and everybody will be accountable for his or her action in this world, and good or bad deeds that they have done, and they will be standing before God, the most just. And then finally, we believe in the destiny, or the predetermined things that could happen in our life without our interference. So we call it qada and qadar, which means that there's things going to happen. We have no control over it, and we give up to God. the pandemic that's happened, fire sometimes starts somewhere, the earthquakes, who are you and why, the way that you are, the way you are. That's I am from this part of the world, he is from that part of the world, he is this color, I am this color, and so on and so forth. So many of that is beyond our control. And that is in a nutshell, again, the belief system. There is the do and don't and worship system in Islam, what we call the pillars of the religion, which stand for declaration of the faith, and then prayers every day, 5 times a day, from early morning to late evening. And then we have the charity system, or zakah, and that is to take care of the needy in the society. And then fasting month of Ramadan, 1 month a year, to fast, to train the body and to humble oneself before God. And then we have going once in lifetime to Mecca, and that is obligatory to whoever he can, or he or she can, physically and financially. Now, there are general teaching Islam came in similar to the previous religions, like the golden rules and different Ten Commandments of different religions they have. But the human brotherhood is like, he is a human like I am, whether he is from the east, west, north, south, inside, outside, any kind, any shape, any looks, and so forth. He is my brother and my sister in humanity. Then, of course, the religious humanity. So if a person he is Muslim, then there are so many common grounds between each other. And then the concepts that overrule everything really is a love and neighborhood, where I am and the people that I am dealing with. We have to love them, respect them, and deal with them like, as we say, treat others the way that you would like them to treat you. Those commonalities between religion and people make us common even in some human values, such as which we value so much, cooperating on what's good and forbidding what's wrong and what's evil, what's harmful, such as family. For us, family and marriage and taking care of each other is very important. Human needs developed throughout the existence of humanity to take care of each other, and that goes into the relationship between husband and wife, and taking care of the elderly and the needy and the vulnerable and the weak and so forth. So that another aspect also would like to mention briefly, again, I am just touching on the topics, is the respect for human rights. All those rights that we know nowadays declared by United Nations Charter in the 30s and the 40s. But in addition to that, and mainly, I'd like to emphasize mainly life. We are, subjected to extreme, like extermination of life, and that is by evil forces in many corners of the world. Liberties is another essential values of the human existence. Dignity is like, you are human, you should be respected as such and not be subjected to a unacceptable behavior or conduct in life. We have to care about those essentials of life, such as eating, drinking, sheltering of a human being, instead of like being in the forest or in the field or outside in the street, like almost like animal. This is not acceptable I am sure it's not in any religion, let alone in Islamic religion. And this treatment or this like rights is not really connected to one's faith. Because he is Muslim, I can help him. If he's not Muslim, I'm not going to help him. That is not the case. It is related to humanity, to who you are as a creation of God. And we are a human creation of God. Again, as I said, regardless of all other reasons for discrimination or distinction between the people. Final point, maybe we could mention that there is no compulsion in religion. We have that in the Holy Quran in many places. And of course, most of these values I mentioned are in very clear and very obvious in the teaching of the Holy Quran and the teaching of the Prophet in his lifetime, and the rest of the people who really explain and make it clear. And this is, in general, again, to the best of our abilities, what I am personally practicing here in the Islamic Center of Riverside as a director and as an Imam for the Muslim community in our part of the world. I appreciate your attention and your listening. If you have any question, I am open for that. May God bless you. Thank you.
If there's any questions, please come forward. Yes, Nicholas.
Hi. Yes, thank you for that presentation. One of the focuses I'm immediately thinking of is during holidays in the school district. I know that students, I believe it's for Ramadan, fast for a certain period of time. So I'm just interested in hearing more about that. And then if there's any feedback you can give from a district perspective of how we can honor those celebrations and some of the things that take place, so teachers can be aware that that student may have lower energy or just different things we can look out for during those time periods.
Thank you, Nicholas, for the question. Yes, I distribute a letter for all the school districts in our area, to the school district in our area, that some of the students, which is like, after the age of 10 or around the age of 10, they are required to fast the day of Ramadan. And if there is any accommodation, please, make it possible for them to do it. But fasting is not much of effort. It's most of the effort is on the person himself, not on the system around him. Only if it's like work, maybe if it's outside or it's too hot or there is some like extreme circumstances. So that is one thing. The other things is really the celebration. Celebration is also including that letter is to accommodate the student who want to take that day off if it happened to be on the school day or working day, whether it's for the employers or for the school. It really will not, it will be in their best interest that the student go with his family to such a religious celebration and celebrate with the family, with the friends, with the neighbors, and so on and so forth, and to consider that a legitimate absence. The same thing for the employer. In case that happened to be in the working days, the employee, of course, they will have to make it up somehow later on or consider some other options. So that should be in the mind of the employer or school district or any institution that deal with the situation like that. Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
By the way, we have two celebrations mainly. We have the celebration after fasting the month of Ramadan. After we finish the fasting of the month of Ramadan, we have 3 days of celebration. But the main day, the first day is the main day where we gather early morning around like 7, 8 in the morning, and we pray together and we congratulate each other and so forth and distribute like, food, sweet, etc. And the other one is after going to Mecca. Once in a lifetime, people go to Mecca there, when a number of like 2 to 3 million people or more. So we, everywhere else in the world, celebrate that event, another 3 days or 4 days of celebration. But the main day is the first day where people visit each other, congratulate each other, maybe have food together and enjoy that little break, which is both of them comes after a major achievement of a form of worship. Thank you.
Ms. Andrea, go ahead.
Thanks. I'm aware of different kinds of Christianity and different kinds of Judaism in the U.S., but I'm not aware of different kinds of Islam. Do you have something equivalent to denominations?
Yeah, unfortunately, yes. We do have Muslim Sunni, which is the mainstream majority of the people, and we have the Shiites. The Shia, which is mostly part of them, majority of them from Iran, from Iraq, Lebanese, and probably Pakistanis, Indian, and from all over. Those are the two major sects. There is another one called Ahmadis. Ahmadis is another group. They have a community in Chino, somewhere like in by Ontario, Chino, that area. They have a mosque, and those they have different belief system. Most of them, I mean, the Shia, they have obviously a different system, and the Ahmad is the same thing. They believe that there is a prophet after Muhammad and so on. So those are the three. There are probably another smaller group. I am not really aware of them.
And what kind of Muslims are you at the Riverside Islamic Center?
We are of the mainstream Muslim Sunni, which is belong to the majority, but everybody is welcome to come and worship with us. And I am sure that other people who are like Shiites or others, whoever, they come and pray with us, but we do not check on anybody's belief system, let alone in like IDs or who you are or questioning or anything like that.
Thank you.
Yes. You know, probably you have visited the Islamic Center. If not, I will arrange someday some visit. That the door is open almost like from 10, 11 in the morning until 10, 11 in the evening. And nobody's being checked and asked or questions or anything like that. And by the way, sometimes we have people of other religions. They just come and worship as well. You know, we try to tell them here is a place and so forth. But yeah, so they are also come and join us, or they pray by themselves, which is fine.
Yes, Stephanie, go ahead, please.
Yes, I've been here many times and brought a lot of students, and everybody's been very warmly welcomed. It's been wonderful. I'm wondering if you have been to Mecca, and if so, what was it like? What's the experience like spiritually and communally going there?
I have been there for both Hajj, we call it, which is the main obligation to do, and for Umrah, which is a smaller one, which is different at any time. But the Hajj is in a specific time that we have to be there. First, thank you for coming to the masjid, to the center, and bringing your students and sharing the experience. Going to Mecca is overwhelming. It's beyond description. You cannot control your crying because it's a place of the ancient, people like Abraham and Ishmael and all prophets of God who have been around the area, and of course where Prophet Muhammad was born, lived, and so on. That's one aspect. When you see the Kaaba, we call it the shrine of the central part of the mosque. And when you see the millions of people who are from all over the world, have different languages, different colors, different everything, rankings in life, economics, etc. And they are all with the shroud of two pieces of white clothing, and there is no distinction whatsoever. And they are going in the same movement around the Kaaba and all the other places and sites. Something like unforgettable.
Yes, Yanni, go ahead.
Yes, thank you for sharing your faith with us. One thing that I admire in the Muslim faith is the diversity, because I see it practiced in Asia, I see it practiced throughout the world with many different ethnicities. I'm wondering, is there ever like a conscious effort to gather all the ethnicities that ascribe to Islam to celebrate, or does that happen via like the iftar and Ramadan? Does that kind of happen organically?
Yes. Well, thank you. This is a very important question, especially here in America. We are really a reflection of that diversity in ethnicities and background. We have about 30 different ethnic and let's say regional groups from all over the world. And you see it in Ramadan even more because people want to be together. And definitely you see it in Hajj and other occasions. Uh, in like a specific country, let's say in Egypt or in Jordan or in Saudi Arabia, probably at the mosque you can see the people from that locality and region, and they are the same or neighbors and so forth. But here in America, almost in every masjid you will go to, you will find maybe 5, 10, 15 different ethnicities and people of all backgrounds. And this is a reflection of the inclusivity of the Islamic religion and the welcoming of all at the same place.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Is there any more questions? If not, I can go ahead and start back with the meeting and thank.
Can I make a comment?
Oh yes, go
Mr.
ahead.
Wahid, just for the what they call it, the elephant of the house. The elephant of the whole situation may be the question of terrorism and the question of oppressing the women. Definitely not such things exists in Islam. First of all, the equality between men and women is like beyond description now. We cannot really talk about it anymore because hopefully people notice and knew that we are struggling here to have maybe a woman president. It's been in different countries in the Middle East, even though it could be sound like religious countries or very conservative countries like Pakistan, for example. Benazir Bhutto in India, Indira Gandhi in Turkey, another lady in many other places to the highest level of the government. And we don't want to mention some queens as well or kings. But the idea is women equality with men. It does not go in conflict with obligations and duties. Women's duty is different than men's duties in every aspect of life. And even though they can do each other duties, but there are duties you cannot do, then Islam respects that and honor it and give it its space. As for terrorism, unfortunately, for the last 20 years or so, or even longer, they try to associate Islam with terrorism. And that is the furthest possible, like between the earth and then the moon. If it's like the closest distance to us here. Yes, there is situations of war and conflicts and so on and so forth. But terrorism, which means abusing power or using power to scare safe and civilian population and whatever the definition uh, is really not an Islamic trade or practice. And even the wars that happened in the history in the past is nothing like strange for at that time and could be analyzed and looked upon. The modern terrorism, unfortunately, is in the movies of Hollywood and in some of the states that sponsor terrorism and promote it. And we could not, go further in that because that will create a division maybe among some people if they are not fair-minded to see where now, for example, um, almost 100,000 people killed and abused and things happening to them in Palestine and in other places in the world. and nobody cares, and nobody even willing to say, stop the war, stop the killing, preserve life. Whether what happened in Syria or that's happened in Iraq or in Afghanistan or lately and it's ongoing in Palestine. And it is very, very sorry to say that with our money and our support and through our politicians, may God guide them to the right decision to make.
Thank you so very much.
Thank you, sir. And thank you, everyone. I appreciate the opportunity.
Yes.
So, do you want me to leave, Wahid?
No, stay, and you can stay for the meeting. We have like a couple more things on the agenda.